absolutely great to be back in Vermillion, South Dakota. I say back because I was here once before. About 15 years ago, I took my husband Frank and my 2 young boys on vacation to South Dakota. And we went to Mount Rushmore and the Badlands and the Corn Palace, and yes, we stopped at Waldrug. But we took the time to come to Vermillion to see what was here. We knew that the university was here. We love college towns, and it was a great afternoon. Loved the place. Got to know a little bit about South Dakota and the Coyotes and Vermillion, South Dakota. But I have to admit, I didn't exactly think I'd be back, but I couldn't be happier to be back in Vermillion, South Dakota today, in the heartland of America, and with some very good news. This is a great day for the Missouri Valley Football Conference. Despite what I would characterize as an amazingly quick timeline for formal consideration of bringing the University of South Dakota into the Missouri Valley Football Conference, I can assure you that this is a decision that was not made in haste. In fact, it's been made possible through strategic discussions that began in August and continued throughout the fall, and it put us in a perfect position to seize this opportunity when it presented itself earlier this week. I know there are going to be a lot of questions about process. No, I wasn't asleep at the wheel and just figured this out 48 hours ago. In fact, I've had many conversations with David Saylor over the course of the last few weeks, a few months actually, since he started. He has been a most diligent and aggressive and convincing advocate for South Dakota since the day he became athletic director. And even though I only met him face-to-face for the first time this morning, I feel like he's a good friend already, and I'm looking forward to many, many years of working with him very closely on the years to come. But there are going to be questions about process, I know, and so I figured I might as well do that in the group rather than have to do this one-on-one with each of the media. You need to know that as soon as South Dakota announced that it was going Division I, that the Missouri Valley Conference, Missouri Valley Football Conference, has been enthusiastically receptive to the possibility of the Coyotes one day being in our league. The logistics of getting this to happen, however, were not as uncomplicated as our enthusiasm. And first and foremost, I'm a football commissioner that needs to run a football league. And it's simple math, but it's complicated depending on what numbers you have in any given conference. 9 members is a good number for a conference for football. 9, you play 8 games, you play 4 home, 4 away, you crown a champion, you make that team your automatic qualifier, and life's easy, life's good, life's simple. 12 works too. You can play divisions, you can name 2 divisional champs, and you can move on. 10 works as well. 10 has its own advantages. 11's kind of a train wreck. 11's a really tough number because of the built-in competitive inequities of that number, and the economics of what we would be facing in the Midwest with 11 was very challenging. And when it was apparent that the Big Sky was going to look to adding at least a 10th, and we assumed that was going to be Southern Utah, the possibility of divisional play under the Missouri Valley Football Conference umbrella pretty much disappeared. When the Big Sky went out and offered membership to North Dakota, South Dakota, and Southern Utah, it looked like our opportunity to advance membership with South Dakota had passed us by. And I looked at it as a missed opportunity. It made me sad, but I knew that South Dakota had found a home, or thought they had at least had an opportunity for a home for all their sports. And David and I had that conversation, and I sadly wished him well. I had assumed all along, was under the impression that North Dakota and South Dakota were package deal for the Big Sky Conference. I thought they were either both or neither for that operation. It wasn't until Monday night when I started reading all the news accounts of the Big Sky action that it became pretty apparent that North Dakota and South Dakota were not tethered, and that South Dakota was a free agent, so to speak. Again, I understand it was the 11th hour. I understand things were well down the road. But I also believed in my heart of hearts that South Dakota belonged in the Missouri Valley Football Conference. And I would have been remiss as the leader of that league to not at least ask the question. And so I called David on Tuesday morning and I said, is it too late? Can we think about this? If you are interested, I will do whatever I can because I think the votes are there to make South Dakota the 10th member of the Missouri Valley Football Conference. He obviously needed to talk to his president, President Abbott, and they gave me a deadline. They said, well, the president is willing to consider this, Patty, but you need to give us an unequivocal response by 5 o'clock today. Now that's pretty quick for a membership decision. But I also knew that we'd done a lot of homework and that our membership was extremely receptive. I wasn't concerned about getting the votes. I was concerned about the timetable. Gathering up 9 athletic directors, finding 10 or 9 presidents was going to be a challenge. So I hung up the phone and got to work. By 1 o'clock that day, we had a conference call of our athletic directors, the result of which was a unanimous vote to recommend to our presidents that South Dakota be invited into our league effective in 2012. Our athletic directors in turn went to their presidents, gave their recommendation, and by 4:45, I had an email to David saying, we want you. Can I make an official offer? Now it was my turn to wait. He said, we'll let you know tomorrow. He also said that anything that would happen had to happen by today's press conference, that you were going to announce one way or another that you had a football home. If I wanted to be part of the party, I better get to work. So that's what I did. That's how I spent my days. And I'm happy to say that I'm here before you to announce that you have the unanimous and enthusiastic votes of all 9 of our member institutions. When the votes were coming in, the official votes on the motion came in yesterday. Words like outstanding, great move, excellent addition accompanied each and every vote from our presidents. I even got a note this morning when I put out the word to our full membership that this was happening. I also copied our coordinator of football officials, Bill Carollo, and as you know, he you may not know, he also assigns officials for South Dakota, has I think for the last year or 2. And he even came on board and said, they've been wonderful to work with. This is terrific. So you even have the officials on your side. So we consider this a most historic and wonderful occasion. If South Dakota accepts my invitation in just a few moments to become the 10th, goodness gracious, the math is bad, the 10th Missouri Valley Football Conference member, we will have served to strengthen our league, but also to stabilize and define football in the Midwest. And this course of action makes sense on, to me, all levels. Our conference, our individual institutional members, our fans, and most importantly, our student athletes, and not just for today, but I believe for decades to come. This move is going to reestablish long-standing rivalries in the Dakotas, but it also has the opportunity to create equally satisfying new rivalries throughout our league. Without further ado, I would like to humbly, enthusiastically invite South Dakota to join the Missouri Valley Football Conference as our 10th member.